It's hard to believe that such a thing still happens these days. I found myself thinking vaguely about it in the narrow hallway of my apartment. There was a thick envelope on the small showbox. Inside it was payoff money. I had a girlfriend. Her name was Michelle. She was the only daughter of the chairman of the Johnson General Hospital, one of the largest hospitals in town. Last night, I proposed to Michelle, and this is the result. Suddenly, Michelle's father showed up at my apartment and looked at me as if I were trash. He said, "I won't let my daughter marry an uneducated loser." Then, saying it's payoff money, he left a thick envelope on the table. Michelle seems to have had her cell phone taken away by her father, so I can't get in touch with her. Just like that, my relationship with Michelle abruptly ended. My name is Rick, and I turned 32 this year. Currently, I'm the vice president of a gaming company I started with a friend. There were a lot of ups and downs to get here, but I believe everything has been a learning experience for me. Deep in my heart, there are things that I've yet to fully come to terms with. My father passed away when I was young, and my mother raised me on her own. Ever since middle school, I wanted to start working early. Being the eldest son, I have 3 younger sisters. When I told my mom that I had decided to quit high school and work while attending night school, she looked at me with guilt and bowed deeply to me. It wasn't that I loved studying, but telling her about the night school was more of an excuse to make her understand. I remember feeling humbled when she bowed so deeply. Together, my mom and I supported our family, ensuring my sisters could follow their desired paths. That gave me a lot of confidence. In the end, I kept working at a florist that I've been part of since my part-time days. That's when I first met Michelle. I think I was 25 and she was 22. Every Monday and Thursday afternoon, she would come into the shop to buy fresh flowers. She never bought large bouquets, just a few stems, and then she'd leave. We'd exchange a few words every time. Little by little, I found myself drawn to her shy and modest character. Michelle is the kind of girl you don't often see these days, with a quiet, reserved, and pure demeanor. Even someone as thick-skinned as me could immediately tell from the way she carried herself that she came from a good upbringing. On Valentine's Day, when she gave me chocolates, I realized for the first time that she had feelings for me. I asked her out right then and there. Our relationship was smooth sailing. We never had an argument. Life was hectic for me. Being invited to co-found a business by a friend might have been a contributing factor. The only time Michelle and I could really meet was on Sundays. With my sister still in school and tuition fees to pay, I didn't have a lot of money for myself. Our dates were mostly in the park. Every time, Michelle would bring along a homemade lunch, and we'd spend our time in the park. I loved that. After dating for a year, I mustered up the courage to propose to her. I felt that if Michelle stayed by my side for the rest of my life, I could push myself many times harder. I couldn't afford a ring worth 3 months of my salary and got her a cheaper one, but Michelle cried tears of joy after she saw it. She kept repeating, "Thank you." I swore I'd make her happy, but by the next morning, I felt like I'd been thrown into hell. The last time I saw Michelle, she had a tear-streaked face from crying with happiness. Our time together ended right there. Starting today, we have a few new recruits coming in. I was approached by HR as soon as I arrived at the office. The company had grown unimaginably since its inception, with almost 30 employees. After my heartbreak, I got seriously involved in a startup with a friend. He founded a gaming company. I've always loved games, and after seeing a game I created, he approached me to co-found the company. I dedicated myself to this job. The company grew rapidly. Now we're focusing on nurturing esports talents. My current job involves scouting esports players. It's quite a fulfilling job. Many young folks aspire to be professional esports players, but taking that first step can be challenging. I believe it's because its recognition in society is still somewhat limited. When job prospects come up, I bet very few parents would understand if their child says, "I want to be a pro gamer." Many kids are already making money by streaming games, but few share that with their parents. Streamers who make a living off game streaming need to put in the effort to make others understand their line of work. I support those kids who feel stuck because those around them don't understand what they're passionate about. I believe my job is to back their dreams. The recruits coming in today are between 18 and 26 years old. We plan to hire them as professionals. Among them, there's one guy I see as a key player. His name is Key. He's a player who excels in multiplayer online battle arenas, MOBA. Simply put, MOBA is a game style where you team up and cooperate with allies to attack and conquer the enemy's base. It requires both strategy and ability to make split-second decisions. I felt Key had an exceptional talent. "I'm Key Johnson. It is a pleasure to meet you all," he said, introducing himself. He's tall and good-looking, although he seemed a bit rough around the edges. The way he responded and carried himself showed he came from a good upbringing. A good young man. The women in the office were clearly impressed by him. After a brief greeting, Key started handling insurance paperwork and other administrative tasks in the HR department. It's a busy day since there are other new hires, and each needs to be directed to their respective departments. That's when I overheard a surprised voice from one of the female clerks. My feet stopped dead in their tracks when the clerk said, "He's the son of the Johnson General Hospital chairman. You know, Johnson General Hospital is the home of a girl like... Can't forget Michelle." I remember Michelle mentioning that she's an only daughter with one younger brother who doesn't have the inclination or aptitude for medical studies. Now I understand why Michelle's dad told me her future husband has to be a doctor. It might be pointless to think about it now, but if Key had gone to med school and become a doctor, maybe Michelle, and I could have gotten married. I was called an uneducated trash. The opposition to our marriage wasn't just because of inheritance issues. I admit that I had my own shortcomings, yet I couldn't help but wonder what if I had become a doctor. A fact I never realized when I first scouted Key. Would I have recruited him if I'd known he was Michelle's brother? Mixing personal feelings with business is downright unacceptable. I kept reminding myself of that. Otherwise, I couldn't imagine supporting Key's dream. Key, as I thought, immediately became a vital member of our team. At the welcome party, he introduced himself, saying he was the son of a hospital chairman, but couldn't give up his dream, so he left. Everyone gave him a warm applause for his determination. I clapped along, but something still felt off. You don't go home, you live alone, right? I casually inquired about his personal life during the party. I've cut ties with my family. When I said I didn't want to become a doctor, they disowned me. I think my sister will have to marry someone taking over the hospital, Keith mumbled. I do feel a bit guilty about my sister watching him. I felt a burning anger rise within me. Must be tough for your sister, all because you decided to be selfish. She's taking all the heat because of you, isn't she? Even I thought it was a mean thing to say. At that moment, I couldn't control my emotions. I harshly lashed out at a man almost a decade younger than me. Keith flinched slightly but firmly said, "I don't regret it. I know my dream might have come at someone else's expense, but I can't give up." The thought of giving up never even crossed my mind. That's the determination I bring here. Keith spoke of his determination. I wished I could blame him for distorting the future Rochelle, and I could have had. Such pettiness made me ashamed of myself. Still, the unresolved feelings continued to smoulder within me. In esports, maintaining concentration amidst high tension is crucial, especially in the game Keith plays. This is essential. It's the same even in regular practice matches. There's constant competition within the team, no different from any other sport. Only the best among the team get to play in matches. Those who can't produce results get phased out. That's the world of professionals. Many push themselves too hard and get sick. It's our job to guide them so that doesn't happen. Keith has a touch of genius, but he never forgets to work hard. I deeply wanted to support him, but I felt ashamed of my inability to do so. Then the incident happened. It was Keith's official debut match, a big tournament with a large number of participating teams. It was a knockout format. Keith's team kept on winning. With the lights dimmed in the venue, a large monitor lit up. Players sat in front of computers engrossed in their game, surrounded by a large audience. They had to keep their composure during the match. If they let the pressure get to them, they'd lose. Holding my breath, I closely watched Keith's character across the screen. Then it seemed like Keith, seated in his chair, tilted his head slightly. The next moment, with a crashing sound, Keith fell from his chair to the ground. On the screen, the character controlled by Keith stood still as the opposing team attacked. "Are you okay, Keith?" I rushed over to find Keith gasping for breath on the floor. An ambulance was immediately called. When it arrived, I ended up riding with him. The paramedic told me we're heading to the Johnson General Hospital's emergency room. I was a bit surprised. It seems there is a mysterious connection between the Johnsons and me. I tried to avoid it, but it felt like I was drawing this fate closer. I felt uneasy when he was brought into the emergency room. I waited outside the treatment room. Suddenly, I heard the sound of hurried footsteps approaching down the hallway. I didn't want to assume, but I couldn't help but feel tense. My suspicions were confirmed. It was Michelle, now grown into a mature woman. She walked toward me with a pale face. She must have been taught not to run in the hospital corridors since she was a child. A frustrated frown creased her forehead. "You're from Keith's company, right? Where's Keith?" "How's Keith doing?" she said, looking at the treatment room's door, completely unaware of my presence. She was looking at the door and didn't notice me at all. She was clearly worried about her younger brother and seemed too preoccupied to notice anything else. I felt bad for Kay, but my heart raced more for Rochelle. He just went into the treatment room. I managed to answer, and Michelle's slender shoulders shuddered. Then, with great force, she turned to me. Her white eyes looked as if they could overflow with tears, staring deep into mine. "Is it Rick?" Her voice trembled as she asked. I nodded confidently in response. "It's been a while. Who would have thought we'd meet like this?" Michelle looked like she was about to burst into tears any moment. I was frozen, not knowing what to do. The tension between us was broken by the nurse's invitation. "Please come in." Normally, only family would be allowed in. "Can I come in too?" "I'm really worried." When I asked, Michelle gave a small nod in agreement. Keith was lying in bed with an IV drip. He looked much better, which was a bit relieving. "Doctor, how's he doing? Is he going to be okay?" Michelle, clutching the hem of my jacket, looked up with concern. I spoke up on her behalf, addressing the doctor. The doctor said he's overworked, probably pushed himself too hard, lack of sleep, not eating right, gaming all night. I suppose the decision was to keep him overnight for observation. We both felt relieved that it wasn't more serious. The patient himself, Keith, was soundly asleep. "I'll go grab some things he'll need for the overnight stay." Thinking Michelle should stay by Keith's side, I made the offer. "Could you? Thank you so much." To reassure Michelle, I grinned and said, "Leave it to me." Seeing that Michelle's face softened a little, that's when it happened. Suddenly, the treatment room door was flung open. The loud bang startled everyone inside, including the nurses. Keith, always causing trouble, entering with a loud shout, was Dr. Johnson in a white coat. He was Michelle and Keith's father. He was, without a doubt, my archenemy. And overworking, after all the talk and leaving the house like that. Should have listened to me and become a doctor. He grabbed Keith's collar and started shaking him. The nurses rushed to intervene. This isn't how a doctor should behave towards a patient. A nurse trying to intervene, Dr. Johnson, raised his hand to strike Keith and shouted, "Wake up." Without thinking, I grabbed his arm. "Stay out of it. This is a family matter." The annoyed doctor started yelling at me. I had no intention of letting go. With all due respect, that doesn't look like a family matter to me. Keith is one of our best. I'd appreciate it if you refrain from violence. Hearing that, Dr. Johnson looked at me immediately. His eyes widened, and his mouth twisted in shock. It seemed that he finally recognized who I was. "You dare to deceive my daughter, and now my precious son too, you uneducated piece of trash." The doctor's words ignited memories of my past anger. But I'm not the same person I was back then. I won't be shaken by such remarks. As the doctor and I locked eyes, Keith woke up. "Wait, Dad, sis." I wasn't in the middle of a game, struggling to grasp the situation. Keith's confusion was evident. I gently embraced him, explaining that he had collapsed and was brought to the hospital. "Keith, get back home now. I can still get you into a decent medical school. You wouldn't go wrong if you just listened to me." The doctor's harsh rebuke made Keith bite his lip. Always being dictated and controlled like this, that's probably why he ran away, I thought. Keith's an adult now. He makes his own decisions. Your children have grown beyond your reach. I positioned myself between Keith and the doctor, shielding both Michelle and Keith. The doctor's face, filled with anger, grabbed at my collar. "You seem rather bold now. You can't hide that you quickly bailed out on my daughter with that payoff money," Michelle gasped and said from behind me. "That money was returned to you ages ago." I replied with a provocative smirk. The doctor shouted, "You're lying." "Dad, aren't you familiar with Rick's company? They've been generously donating every year." Keith's voice reflected his growing impatience. What are you talking about? Donations every year? You can't be serious." I brushed off the doctor's hand, presenting my business card once again. Recognizing the company name, the doctor's confidence wavered. "I donated that money immediately. Why would I keep it? I always intended to come back for Michelle one day." I spilled out the promise I'd held deep in my heart. The promise that, always suppressing my feelings, deceiving even myself, but I can't do that anymore. My life has always been intertwined with Michelle's. Today, our unexpected reunion made those feelings come flooding back. I've been making donations to Johnson General Hospital under my company name, initially just to repay that payoff money. The continuous donations were because I couldn't let go of my connection with Michelle. Maybe I was testing my own resolve. For a private clinic, donations are a lifeline. Staring intently at my card, the doctor suddenly changed his demeanor. "If only you'd said so. My apologies for the misunderstanding. We're always grateful for your support." Please keep it coming. His demeanor had shifted completely. He seemed nonchalant, but was oddly ingratiating. He's probably afraid I'd get upset and stop the donations. Well, I'll leave the rest to you. With that, he made a hasty exit, leaving us all dumbfounded. The rest of us were just left in shock. Both the attending physician and the nurses had surprised looks on their faces due to the sudden change in the doctor's behavior. Well then, Keith, you will be admitted for the night. Remember, managing one's health is part of a professional's job. Be more cautious from now on. I'm sorry. I will be more careful, Rick. Thank you so much for standing up to my father so firmly. I was truly moved, thank you, Heath exclaimed with joy. I felt somewhat embarrassed. Receiving praise head-on is something I never really got used to. Michelle chuckled as she watched my reaction. Listen, Michelle, it's super late, and you might be fed up waiting, but if you're still single, I mustered up the courage to tell her that. Before I could finish, Michelle interrupted. I am single. I hadn't gotten married. I couldn't forget about you after you suddenly disappeared. The earnest look in her eyes left me speechless. After I had vanished, Michelle had confronted my father. Mother had heard what had transpired, what my father had done, and felt devastated. But she laughed, saying she never thought she wouldn't see me again. I always felt that our paths would cross again. I knew it in my heart, Michelle said. She had been looking forward to that day. Tears threatened to spill from my eyes thinking about her holding on to that tiny glimmer of hope. Every day after our separation made my heart ache. I'll bring a much nicer ring next time. As I said this, scratching my head, Michelle shook hers. I like that ring. You still have it, right? Feeling like she saw right through me, I scratched my head and responded, You got me. Of course, I still have it. The ring that was returned to me as if to sever our ties. I want that ring on my finger again. I nodded firmly in response to Michelle's words. At that moment, the entire treatment room erupted into applause. The doctor, nurses, and Keith all clapped their hands, saying, Good for you, as a gesture of celebration. Suddenly, I snapped back to reality. Michelle and I weren't alone. Feeling embarrassed, I hastily left the treatment room. A few days later, Michelle and I both went to meet the doctor. At first, the doctor refused to see us, but Michelle's tears eventually won him over. All right, I'll approve the marriage, but on one condition. The head doctor's condition was to forget about the old words he said, which was amusing. It's probably about that comment he made about me being an uneducated trash, I quickly replied. Of course, I wanted to register our marriage right away, but due to work, it kept getting postponed. The one who ran out of patience was Michelle, and unusually she puffed up her cheeks, raising her voice in protest at me. She hardly ever gets angry. She hesitated a bit, and then complained in a soft voice, Please don't keep me waiting any longer. Seeing Michelle blushing and speaking shyly, I realized how long I'd kept her waiting. I'll do it right away. I stood up and left my work. I grabbed her hand and rushed to the county clerk's evening counter. Michelle said, Wait, but I had no intention of waiting any longer. Our pace quickened, and by the time the county building was in sight, we were both running, our hands tightly holding onto each other. I swore in my heart I would never let go of this hand for the rest of my life.
Who's the lady behind Daddy? Lily's whispered question slices through the darkness of her bedroom, piercing my chest like a shard of ice. My 7-year-old's innocent face glows blue in the light of the tablet screen, where Marcus's pixelated image freezes for a split second. I'm Sawyer, and this is the moment my marriage shatters. What lady, sweetheart? I keep my voice steady, though my fingers tighten around the tablet's edges. Marcus's face twitches, a micro-expression I wouldn't have caught if I hadn't spent 15 years memorizing every line of his face. Behind Daddy, in his hotel room. She just walked past really fast. Lily points at the screen, her small finger leaving a smudge. She had red hair. Marcus laughs, but it's too sharp, too quick. Princess, there's no one here. Must be the TV reflection or something. It's late there, isn't it, Sawyer? Maybe we should wrap this up. I watch him adjust his collar, a nervous tic I've seen 1,000 times during board meetings and parent-teacher conferences. Sure, I say, tasting metal. Lily needs her sleep. Night, Daddy. Love you. Lily blows a kiss at the screen. Love you too, Princess. His smile doesn't reach his eyes. Sawyer, I'll call you tomorrow about The connection drops. Or he drops it. Same difference. Lily yawns, already forgetting about the mysterious lady as she snuggles into her unicorn sheets. I kiss her forehead, breathing in the strawberry scent of her shampoo, trying to anchor myself in this moment before the storm I feel building breaks loose. Mommy? Her voice is already heavy with sleep. Yes, baby. Is Daddy coming home soon? The question hangs in the air like smoke. Marcus is supposed to be in Seattle for 3 more days, closing a deal that could make or break his firm. Alone. In meetings. Not in his hotel room with a redhead at 11 at night. Soon, I lie, hating myself for it. Sweet dreams, love. I walk down the hallway to our bedroom, my bedroom now, really, since Marcus started traveling so much. The house feels too quiet, too empty, like a stage set waiting for the drama to unfold. My phone buzzes with a text from Emma, wine emergency. I'm free. My fingers hover over the keyboard. Emma's been my best friend since college, the one person who saw through Marcus's charm from the start. Not tonight, I type back. Tomorrow? I need this night to think, to plan, to let the rage building in my chest crystallize into something useful. The signs were there, the late nights, the password changes, the new cologne. I just didn't want to see them. Opening my laptop, I pull up Marcus's social media accounts. Nothing obvious, he's too smart for that. But there's always a trail if you know where to look. I start with his firm's website, scanning through staff photos until I find her, the new senior partner with copper hair and a smile that could cut glass. Vivian Morrison. My screen fills with her LinkedIn profile, her achievements, her carefully curated professional image. But it's the photo that catches my eye. She's wearing a necklace I recognize. The same one I saw in a jewelry store receipt Marcus accidentally left in his jacket last month. The pieces click into place like a lock tumbling open. I close the laptop, my mind already racing ahead to what comes next. Marcus thinks he's so clever, so careful. He has no idea what's coming. Because here's the thing about betrayal, it's not just about the act itself. It's about the lies, the manipulation, the slow erosion of trust that comes before. And now, thanks to our daughter's innocent observation, I have what I need, the first thread to unravel his carefully constructed facade. I pick up my phone again and text Emma, changed my mind. Bring the wine. We have work to do. Emma arrives with 2 bottles of wine and a gleam in her eye that means trouble. We're halfway through the first bottle when my brother Jasper shows up unannounced, his police detective badge still clipped to his belt. You look like hell, he says, dropping into my favorite armchair. Thanks for the assessment. I swirl the wine in my glass. What brings you by? Emma texted. He shoots her a look. Said you might need some professional insight. Of course she did. I should be annoyed, but the weight of secrets is already crushing my chest. Lily saw something during Marcus's video call tonight. Someone, actually. Jasper leans forward, his expression shifting from concerned brother to detective. Tell me. I do. The video call, the red-headed woman, Marcus's reaction. With each detail, the reality of it becomes sharper, more painful. Emma refills my glass without asking. You know what this means, Jasper says quietly. It means I'm an idiot who didn't see what was right in front of me. No, Emma interrupts. It means Marcus is about to learn exactly who he's dealing with. My phone buzzes. Marcus. I turn it face down on the coffee table. He's probably calling to damage control. Make sure I bought his story about the TV reflection. Speaking of stories, Jasper pulls out his phone. Remember that charity gala at Marcus's firm last month? The one you couldn't attend because Lily was sick. My stomach twists. What about it? He pulls up a photo on his phone. It's from the firm's social media, Marcus in his best suit, champagne in hand, laughing at something Vivian Morrison is saying. Her red hair catches the light like copper wire. They're standing close. Too close. That necklace, Emma points at Vivian's throat. The one you found the receipt for? $15,000 of platinum and diamonds. The words taste bitter. He said it was a potential investment piece. Jasper's jaw tightens. Want me to run a background check on her? No, I say, surprising myself. I need to handle this my way. And what way is that? Emma asks. Before I can answer, my phone buzzes again. This time it's an email from Marcus's firm, an invitation to their annual summer party next weekend. The one they throw for partners and their families. Perfect timing, I murmur, opening the attachment. There she is, listed on the planning committee, Vivian Morrison, senior partner. Sawyer, Jasper's voice carries a warning. Whatever you're thinking. I'm thinking it's time I met Marcus's new partner properly. I stand up, suddenly energized. Emma, remember that red dress you said was too daring for me? She grins. The one that makes you look like $1 million and murder? Exactly. I'm going to need to borrow it. Jasper runs a hand over his face. This isn't going to end well. It already hasn't ended well, I snap. Marcus made sure of that. Now I get to decide what happens next. My phone buzzes a third time, a text from Marcus, about tonight. Lily has such an active imagination. Miss you both. Home soon. The lies are so smooth, so practiced. How many times has he sent messages like this? How many nights has he played the devoted husband while building a life with someone else? You know what the worst part is? I look at Jasper and Emma, my closest allies. It's not even the affair. It's that he's making me doubt every memory, every moment. Was anything real? Emma reaches for my hand. That's what makes you different from him, Sawyer. You were real. And that's why we're going to make sure he never forgets it. I pick up my phone and type a reply. Can't wait to see you. The summer party's next weekend, I'll be there. His response is immediate. You hate those corporate events. Time for a change, I text back, watching the 3 dots appear and disappear as he processes this shift in the script. Besides, I'd love to meet your new partners. The dots vanish. No response. I look up at Jasper and Emma, feeling something close to smile form on my face. Now, about that red dress. The summer party invitation sits on my kitchen counter like a loaded gun. 3 days until I face them both, and I can't stop discovering new lies. Each one is a paper cut to the heart, small but devastating in its precision. I'm scrolling through Marcus's company website again when a notification pops up. Someone's tagged him in a photo. My finger hovers over the link, trembling slightly. Click. The image loads. Marcus at a restaurant I don't recognize, his arm casually draped over a chair. The caption reads, "Strategy dinner with the team." But it's what's reflected in the window behind him that stops my breath. A flash of red hair, a familiar necklace, carefully cropped out of the main shot but caught in the glass like a ghost. My phone rings. Emma. Found something? She asks without preamble. They're not even trying to hide anymore. My voice sounds strange, distant. Just being careful about the angles. The party's in 3 days. Are you sure you want to? A new email notification cuts her off. From Marcus's firm, but not from him. From her. Emma, I'll call you back. The subject line reads, regarding the summer party. My fingers feel numb as I open it. Dear Sawyer, I hope you don't mind me reaching out directly. As head of the planning committee, I wanted to personally welcome you to the event. Marcus mentioned you rarely attend these functions, so I thought we could meet beforehand to help you feel more comfortable. Coffee tomorrow? Vivian Morrison. The audacity steals my breath. I read it again, catching the subtle power play, the calculated friendliness. She knows. She has to know I know. My phone buzzes with a text from Marcus. Vivian's just being polite. You don't have to go. Of course he's already heard. I imagine them together, discussing how to handle me, the inconvenient wife. The thought crystallizes something inside me. I reply to Vivian's email, coffee sounds perfect. The garden cafe at 2? Her response is immediate, looking forward to it. I call Emma back. Change of plans. I need you to follow Marcus tomorrow afternoon. Why? What's happening? I'm having coffee with his mistress. Silence. Then, holy shit, Sawyer. There's more. I forward her the photo with the reflection. Look at the date stamp. 3 months ago. That necklace? He bought it for her the next day. Using your joint account, Emma finishes. That's why you found the receipt. Exactly. But here's what I just realized, that restaurant? It's right next to the jewelry store. He didn't even try to hide the location. Just assumed I'd never connect the dots. My laptop pings, another notification. Someone's created a new Instagram account and tagged Marcus in old photos. Lots of them. The username makes my stomach lurch, VM private. Emma, my voice shakes, I think she's starting to crack too. I click through the photos, Marcus and Vivian at various work events over the past year. Each one carefully staged to look professional, but the progression is clear. The way they stand closer in each shot. The lingering looks. The inside jokes in the captions. She's marking her territory, Emma says softly. Question is, why now? My phone lights up with another text, this time from Jasper. Got the financial records you asked for. You need to see this. Now. I have to go, I tell Emma. But tomorrow. I'll follow Marcus while you have coffee with the other woman. Just, be careful, Sawyer. This feels like a trap. I laugh, but there's no humor in it. Of course it is. But here's what they don't understand. I'm not the same woman who used to avoid these parties because they made me uncomfortable. That woman died the moment our daughter saw what they tried to hide. I end the call and open Jasper's message. The document he's attached makes my blood run cold, bank transfers, property records, a paper trail leading to something much bigger than an affair. Tomorrow, I'll have coffee with Vivian Morrison. I'll smile and play my part. But now I know, this isn't just about a cheating husband. This is about fraud, conspiracy, and millions of dollars that shouldn't exist. And they have no idea that I've found their real secret. The garden cafe feels too bright, too normal for what I'm about to do. Vivian Morrison sits at a corner table, copper hair gleaming under vintage Edison bulbs, that $15,000 necklace catching the light. Sawyer, she stands, extending her hand. I'm so glad you came. Her grip is firm, confident. I notice she's chosen a seat that gives her a clear view of both entrances. So has Emma, positioned at the coffee bar, pretending to work on her laptop. Marcus was surprised you agreed to meet, Vivian says, settling back into her chair. Was he? I stir my coffee, watching the cream create perfect spirals. Funny, he didn't mention that during our call last night. A micro-expression flickers across her face, surprise, maybe concern. You spoke last night? Lily loves her bedtime calls with Daddy. I let that hang there, watching her process the mention of my daughter. Her smile tightens. She sounds adorable. Marcus shows me pictures sometimes. The casual admission hits like a slap, but I keep my voice steady. I'm sure he does. Along with the financial records? Now the smile vanishes completely. I'm not sure what you mean. I pull out my phone, slide it across the table. On the screen is a document Jasper sent me, wire transfers, shell companies, dates that coincide perfectly with her promotion to senior partner. Interesting timing, I say. Your partnership announcement came right after that first transfer of $2 million to an offshore account in the Caymans. She doesn't touch the phone. Doesn't even look at it. You should be careful, Sawyer. You're making accusations about things you don't understand. Oh, I understand perfectly. The affair was just cover, wasn't it? A convenient distraction while you and Marcus moved the money. Did you seduce him, or was he just a willing participant in both betrayals? Her laugh is soft, dangerous. You think you're so clever, finding breadcrumbs we left for you to find. Tell me, does your detective brother know about Marcus's other accounts? The ones in Singapore? The question hits me like ice water. Jasper hadn't mentioned Singapore. There's so much you don't know, Vivian continues, leaning forward. About Marcus, about the firm, about me. Did you really think I'd meet you without insurance? My phone buzzes, a text from Emma. Marcus just entered the back door. Speaking of insurance, I say, standing up. You might want to check your private Instagram account. The one you created to document your relationship with Marcus? I took screenshots. All of them. Those photos prove nothing. No, but the metadata embedded in them proves everything. Dates, locations, timestamps that match perfectly with those financial transfers. Quite the paper trail you two created. Marcus appears behind her, his face ashen. Sawyer, stop. Why? Afraid I'll tell her about Geneva? Vivian's head snaps toward Marcus. What about Geneva? I gather my things, savoring the confusion on both their faces. Oh, you didn't know? Ask him about the account he opened there last week. The one with only his name on it. Marcus? Vivian's voice has lost its confidence. Don't worry, I say, dropping cash on the table for my untouched coffee. I'm sure he has a perfectly reasonable explanation for why he's planning to run with all the money. Just like he had reasonable explanations for all those late nights at the office. I walk away, hearing them start to argue in harsh whispers. Emma falls into step beside me as we exit. That was brutal, she says. You okay? No. My hands are shaking now that it's over. But I will be. Did you send everything to Jasper? Already done. He's waiting for us at his office with the FBI's Financial Crimes Unit. I take one last look through the cafe window. Marcus and Vivian are both on their phones now, faces tight with panic. They've forgotten I can still see them, too focused on damage control to notice they're being watched. Just like they never noticed me at all, until it was too late. Let's go, I tell Emma. The real work starts now. Jasper's office feels like a war room. Financial records cover his desk, sticky notes create a web of connections on his whiteboard, and 3 FBI agents hover over laptops, tracking Marcus's digital footprints. He's booking flights, Agent Shen says, not looking up from her screen. Multiple destinations, different aliases. And Vivian? I ask, watching the data stream across their monitors. Still in her office, making calls. Lots of calls. Jasper hands me a coffee. You rattled them both pretty hard at that cafe. My phone buzzes, Marcus calling. Again. I silence it, adding to the growing list of missed calls since our confrontation yesterday. The summer party's tomorrow night, Emma reminds me, scrolling through her phone. Half the firm's already talking about Marcus and Vivian's fight at the cafe. Someone posted a video. Perfect timing, Agent Chen says. We'll have teams in place, but we need them to actually attempt the transfer before we can. My phone lights up with a text from Lily's school. My heart stops. Marcus picked her up 10 minutes ago. The room goes silent. He's never picked her up without telling me first. Never. Track his phone, Jasper barks at the agents. Now. My hands shake as I dial the school. The secretary's voice is apologetic. He's on the approved list, Mrs. Bennett. He said you knew. I hang up, already moving toward the door. Emma grabs my arm. Wait, she says. He's trying to force you to talk to him. Don't give him that power. He has my daughter. And 3 FBI teams tracking his every move, Jasper reminds me. He won't leave the city with her. He can't. My phone buzzes again, a text from Marcus. We need to talk. Come home. Home. Where I haven't slept since finding those transfers. Where Lily's drawings still cover the fridge, where family photos hide the truth behind perfect smiles. He's at your house, Agent Chen confirms. Phone signal stable. I'm going, I say, cutting off Jasper's protest. But I'm wearing a wire. 20 minutes later, I pull into our driveway. Marcus's card is there, next to Lily's pink bicycle. Through the window, I can see them in the kitchen. He's making her grilled cheese, her favorite after-school snack. Playing the devoted father while using her as a bargaining chip. My phone buzzes one last time before I reach the door. Remember the Geneva account? 2 can play that game. I freeze, my hand on the doorknob. He's bluffing. He has to be. The door opens before I can turn the key. Marcus stands there, his perfect facade showing cracks around the edges. Mommy. Lily runs past him, hugging my legs. Daddy's making lunch. Want some? Sure, baby. I stroke her hair, meeting Marcus's gaze over her head. Why don't you go set the table? She bounces away, leaving us in charged silence. That was quite a show at the cafe, Marcus says quietly. Very dramatic. Very public. Taking our daughter without telling me, that's your response? You left me no choice. He steps closer, voice dropping. You have no idea what you've started. The people involved, the money at stake. The people who don't know about your private accounts? I match his tone. The ones who think you're all in this together? A muscle twitches in his jaw. You need to back off, Sawyer. For Lily's sake. Don't you dare use her against me. I'm trying to protect her. He runs a hand through his hair, a tell I've seen 1,000 times when he's losing control. There are things you don't understand. Daddy. The cheese is burning. He turns toward the kitchen, then back to me. We're not done. No, I agree, watching him walk away. We're just getting started. I touch the wire under my shirt, knowing Jasper and the FBI are listening. Knowing that in 24 hours, at the summer party, everything will change. I just have to keep Marcus thinking he's in control until then. Coming, sweetheart. I call to Lily, stepping into what used to be our home, now just another battlefield in this war of secrets and lies. The summer party sparkles with fake laughter and real champagne. I adjust Emma's borrowed red dress, feeling the wire tape pull against my skin. Somewhere in this crowd, FBI agents are waiting for Marcus to make his move. You look stunning, Emma whispers, appearing at my elbow. Marcus hasn't stopped staring since you walked in. He's not the only one. Vivian stands across the room, her copper hair swept up, that damned necklace still at her throat. She's watching me too, her face unreadable. Any sign of the transfer? I murmur. Not yet. But Jasper says. The room hushes as Marcus takes the stage, champagne glass in hand. My husband, soon-to-be ex-husband, looks every inch the successful partner in his tailored suit. Only I can see the strain around his eyes, the slight tremor in his hand. Thank you all for coming, he begins. Tonight we celebrate not just another successful year, but a new chapter for our firm. My phone vibrates. Unknown number, check your email. Now. I slip away from Emma, finding a quiet corner to open my inbox. The subject line stops my breath: Lily's college fund, empty today. The attachment shows our daughter's account, the one I thought only I could access, drained to zero. Below it, a message: walk away now, or the Geneva account details go public. Think about Lily's future. My vision blurs. That account was everything I'd saved for her, separate from our joint finances. The money I'd been setting aside since the day she was born. Quite a speech Marcus is giving, isn't it? I turn to find Vivian beside me, close enough that I can smell her expensive perfume. Did you help him empty my daughter's college fund too? I keep my voice low, steady. Oh, Sawyer. She smiles, all teeth. You still think this is about affairs and hurt feelings? Marcus told me what you're really doing, working with the FBI, wearing that wire under your lovely dress. Ice floods my veins. The wire suddenly feels like it's burning my skin. Don't worry, she continues. We haven't told our other partners about your little investigation. Yet. But they're not as understanding as we are. On stage, Marcus is still talking, but his eyes find mine across the room. He raises his glass in my direction, a silent challenge. The transfer's already happened, Vivian says softly. Hours ago, through channels you'll never trace. All this? She gestures around the room. It's theater. For you. My phone buzzes again. Another email, surveillance photos of Lily at school, timestamped today. A warning. You have a choice, Vivian continues. Leave now. Take Lily and disappear. Marcus will restore her college fund, and our associates never need to know how close you came to exposing everything. Or stay, and discover just how deep this really goes. How many people have invested in keeping their secrets buried? She touches her necklace. Your brother's a good detective. It would be a shame if his investigation into that cold case from last year was compromised. The room spins slightly. They've thought of everything. Every angle, every pressure point. 2 minutes, Vivian says, checking her watch. Before Marcus finishes his speech. Before certain documents are released that will destroy your brother's career. Before those photos of Lily find their way to some very dangerous people. On stage, Marcus is wrapping up. Emma's trying to catch my eye from across the room. Somewhere in this crowd, FBI agents are waiting for a signal I can no longer give. Time's up, Vivian whispers. What's it going to be? I look at my phone one last time, at Lily's empty college account, at her innocent face in those surveillance photos. Then I reach under my dress and slowly peel off the wire. Vivian's smile widens as I drop it into her outstretched hand. Smart choice, she says. The exit's that way. Don't worry about saying goodbye. I walk toward the door on legs that barely feel real, leaving behind everything, the investigation, the evidence, the justice I thought I could find. They've won. And the worst part is, I'm letting them. For Lily. Always for Lily. The parking garage is empty except for 3 cars, mine, Marcus's, and Vivian's. My heels echo against concrete as I walk toward their voices, arguing in harsh whispers behind a concrete pillar. I'm still wearing Emma's red dress, but the wire is gone. So is my phone. So is everything except the USB drive burning a hole in my clutch, the one thing they don't know about. It's done, Marcus is saying. She's neutralized. We should. You idiot. Vivian's voice cuts like glass. She copied everything before coming tonight. Why else would she give up so easily? I step into view. Smart woman. They spin toward me. Marcus's face darkens, but Vivian. Vivian smiles. It's not the smile I expected. The FBI's gone, Marcus says. You've lost. Have I? I open my clutch, letting them see the drive. Everything's here. The transfers, the shell companies, the real names of your associates. One copy of many. We can destroy your life. Marcus takes a step forward. Lily's future is exactly why I'm here. I meet his eyes. You really think I'd let you use our daughter as leverage without a backup plan? Vivian moves suddenly, placing herself between us. But she's not facing me, she's facing Marcus. That's enough, she says quietly. Marcus blinks. What are you? The FBI isn't gone, she continues. They're just not wearing wires anymore. Isn't that right, Agent Morrison? The silence that follows feels like glass about to shatter. 8 months, Vivian, Agent Morrison, says. 8 months undercover, watching you steal from clients, launder money, destroy lives. But we needed the connections, the names of everyone involved. Marcus's face goes ash white. You. Used you? She removes the necklace, the one he bought her, and lets it fall. Like you used Sawyer? Like you plan to use your own daughter's future as collateral? Car doors open in the distance. Footsteps approach. You knew? Marcus turns to me, realization dawning. When did you? At the cafe, I say. When she met with me. No other woman would wear evidence of her affair to confront the wife. Unless she wanted me to see it. Unless she needed me to understand what kind of man you really are. We couldn't tell you, Vivian says to me. Not until we had everything. Your real investigation helped push him into making mistakes. Marcus lunges, not at me, but at the USB drive. I let him grab it. Check it, I tell him. Go ahead. His fingers tremble as he pulls out his phone, plugs in the drive. His face contorts as he reads. It's all about me. Just me. None of the others. Because they're already in custody, Jasper's voice rings out as he steps from behind a pillar, gun drawn. Have been for hours. While you were giving your speech, we were cleaning house. FBI agents emerge from the shadows, surrounding us. Marcus's knees buckle. Agent Morrison, he whispers. Everything, the affair. Was my job, she says flatly. The worst part of it. But we needed you to trust me completely. To show me everything. I watched them lead Marcus away in handcuffs, this man I once loved, now a stranger in expensive clothes and cheap lies. Sawyer, Vivian, Agent Morrison, touches my arm. That moment in the ballroom, when I threatened Lily. I knew you'd choose her. Any good mother would. It's what made you perfect for this. You risked everything on that assumption. No, she smiles slightly. I risked everything on you being exactly who you are, someone who'd never stop fighting for their child. Even if it meant appearing to give up. Jasper approaches with my phone. Lily's safe at Emma's. And her college fund. Was never touched, Vivian finishes. That email was fake. We needed Marcus to think he had one. I take my phone, looking at the last photo I took of Lily, laughing, innocent, free. Everything I fought to protect. Let's go home, Jasper says softly. I nod, leaving behind the red dress, the lies, and the man who thought he could use our daughter against me. Some mistakes you only make once. Lily's laughter echoes across the playground, mixing with the rustle of autumn leaves. She's showing another little girl how to make leaf angels, spreading her arms wide in demonstration. The other girl copies her, both of them giggling as crisp leaves crackle beneath them. My phone buzzes, the news alert I've been waiting for, financial fraud ring sentenced, former partner Marcus Bennett faces 20 years. They got what they deserved, Emma says, settling beside me on the park bench. Most of them, anyway. She's right. Some of the bigger fish escaped, their connections too powerful, their tracks too well covered. But Marcus and his immediate circle weren't so lucky. Lily asked about him this morning, I say, watching my daughter create her leaf masterpiece. Asked if he'd be home for Christmas. What did you tell her? Before I can answer, my phone buzzes again. Agent Morrison, Vivian, last testimony wrapped. Thought you should know, he tried to make a deal, offering information about your brother's cold case. Turns out he was bluffing. Never had anything. Of course he didn't. His final attempt at leverage, as empty as everything else about him. Mommy, look. Lily runs over, leaves in her hair, cheeks flushed with excitement. Sarah's coming to my birthday next week. Can we have chocolate cake? I pull a leaf from her curls. Whatever you want, baby. She beams, running back to her new friend. I watch her go, remembering that night she saw Vivian in Marcus's hotel room. How one innocent observation brought down an empire of lies. You never answered my question, Emma nudges me. What did you tell her about Marcus? The truth. That sometimes people we love make choices that hurt others, and those choices have consequences. That her daddy made some bad decisions, but that doesn't change how much he loves her. Very diplomatic. I learned from the best. I gesture to my phone, where Vivian's message still glows. Speaking of which. I type a reply, thank you. For everything. Her response is immediate, no thanks needed. But if you're ever interested in a career change, the Bureau could use someone with your instincts. Emma reads over my shoulder and snorts. Federal Agent Sawyer. Has a ring to it. I think I've had enough of undercover work. I stand up, stretching. Besides, I start teaching next semester. Literature and ethics. Apparently my story about corporate fraud made quite an impression on the hiring committee. Professor Bennett, then? Professor Sawyer, I correct her. Some names were better off without. Lily waves from the playground, calling Sarah to look at something she's found. Probably another perfect leaf for her collection. She has her father's charm but none of his darkness, proof that some things can be inherited while others are chosen. My phone buzzes one final time. Unknown number, but I know who it is. The trust fund is restored. With interest. It's the least I can do. M. I delete the message without responding. Some debts can't be repaid with money, and some bridges stay burned. Ready to go, baby? I call to Lily. Aunt Emma's making dinner tonight. She runs over, dragging Sarah with her. Can Sarah come too? Please. I look at Sarah's mother, who's approaching with a warm smile. Another single mom, I'd learned, navigating her own path through life's complications. Actually, Sarah's mom says, I make a mean apple pie. If you'd like some company. Emma grins at me, eyebrows raised suggestively. I roll my eyes at her before turning back to Sarah's mom. We'd love some, I say, surprising myself with how much I mean it. As we walk to the parking lot, Lily and Sarah skipping ahead, I realize something. Revenge wasn't the answer I needed. Neither was justice, really. What I needed was this, the freedom to start again, to choose my own path, to show my daughter that life's greatest victories sometimes come disguised as defeats. And maybe, just maybe, to learn that some of the best chapters start after you think the story's over.
I'm Sarah, and I'm 37 years old. My husband Max and I were throwing a party at our house to welcome back my brother-in-law, Uncle Isaac. He had just come home after spending 5 years in prison for a crime he didn't commit. Yep, you heard that right, prison. But before you jump to conclusions about him or our family, let me tell you Isaac was innocent. He got caught up in something he had nothing to do with. It took 5 long years of legal battles to prove his innocence and set him free. So, you can imagine how excited we all were to have him back with us. The party was buzzing, everyone having a great time. Isaac was in the spotlight, catching up with everyone and sharing stories from his time in prison. He had a special bond with my daughter, Sophia, who used to be really close to him before all this mess happened. Laughter and lively chats echoed through the house, and the smell of yummy food filled the air as we all enjoyed a feast fit for royalty. It was a special time for our family, filled with happiness and togetherness, which made my heart feel warm. Once the party ended and everyone left, we were still buzzing with excitement. We were thankful to see Isaac back with us, alive, happy, and healthy after his unfair time in prison. Life went back to normal, and it felt like the drama in our family had calmed down, at least for a little while. But sadly, that happy feeling didn't last long. A couple of days after the party, I was sitting in the living room, lost in a book, when Sophia burst in, looking scared and angry. I quickly put my book down and went to her side, worried about what had happened. Sophia, what's the matter? You look really scared. Tell me what's going on, I said, my voice filled with worry. Tears were rolling down Sophia's cheeks as she struggled to catch her breath. Mom, I found something. A camera hidden in one of my plants. My heart raced, and I felt a surge of fear. A hidden camera in my daughter's room. It made my blood boil, but I had to stay calm for Sophia. We hurried to her room, my mind racing with questions. And there it was, tucked away among the leaves of her favorite plant, a tiny camera invading her privacy. How long had it been there? I felt a mix of disgust, fear, and anger rising inside me. I wasted no time and called Max right away, my voice shaky with a mix of feelings as I shared the shocking news. Max, you won't believe what I just found out. There's a hidden camera in Sophia's room. We need to act fast. Max sounded both concerned and furious. I'm coming over, Sarah. We're not going to let this slide. Our daughter deserves her privacy, and whoever did this will pay for it. While we waited for Max, Sophia clung to me, her tears soaking my shirt. She blamed herself for not noticing the camera sooner. But I assured her it wasn't her fault. I promised to support her through this unsettling situation. When Max arrived, his eyes reflected our emotions, anger barely contained beneath a calm surface. We carefully examined the camera, searching for any clues that could lead us to the person responsible. It was a betrayal of trust that hurt deeply, and we were determined to uncover the truth. The invasion of our safe space shattered the feeling of security we had worked so hard to build for our family. We needed to take action quickly, not only to protect our daughter but also to restore our peace of mind. If there was one hidden camera in Sophia's room, who knew how many more might be lurking elsewhere in our home? Don't worry, Sophia. We won't stop until we find out who did this, I reassured her. Thanks, Mom. Can I please nap in the guest room? I don't feel comfortable in my room right now, and I'm really tired, Sophia asked. Of course, sweetheart. You do what you need to feel safe. I'm so sorry this happened, I replied gently. Sophia headed to the guest room, likely wanting some time alone after her privacy had been violated. I couldn't shake off the feeling of malice. Who could do something like this? We decided to review the footage, gather any evidence we could find, and involve the authorities if necessary. Nobody messes with our family like this. Though I was shaken, I found comfort in knowing Max and I were on the same page. We sat together in the quiet of our living room, the seriousness of the situation weighing heavily on us. Our minds raced, trying to figure out who could have planted the camera in Sophia's room. As we talked it through, one name kept coming up: Isaac. I broached the subject carefully, trying to keep my voice steady. The timing is hard to ignore. The camera was likely planted during the family gathering. And who had the opportunity? Isaac, I said. Sarah, you can't seriously think Isaac would do something like this. Yes, he's had his problems, but he's not a creep. He's my brother, for crying out loud. Max protested. I understood Max's reaction completely. Family bonds are strong, and suspecting a relative of such a violation feels almost unthinkable. But I couldn't ignore the clues that seemed to point towards Isaac's involvement during the family gathering. Gathering my thoughts, I spoke softly but firmly. Max, I know it's tough to consider, but we have to face reality. Isaac spent a lot of time with Sophia at the gathering, which suggests he may have had some interest in her. Plus, he just got out of prison. People change, and their experiences can influence their actions. Our priority is to protect our daughter, even if it means questioning those closest to us. Max looked weighed down by the situation, torn between loyalty and the evidence. Eventually, he nodded slowly, his voice filled with a mix of resignation and discomfort. I don't want to believe it, Sarah, but you're right. The timing and circumstances are hard to ignore. We have to find out the truth for Sophia's sake, Max admitted. The idea of confronting Isaac about the betrayal weighed heavily on our minds. We knew it was necessary, the safety of our home and our daughter depended on it. As we braced ourselves for the tough conversation ahead, we promised to approach it with care and empathy. Finding the truth was crucial, not just for our peace, but to protect Sophia from any further harm. Days passed, and Max struggled with conflicting feelings, loyalty to his brother versus the nagging suspicion in the back of his mind. The tension strained our relationship with Isaac and cast a shadow over our family. As we grappled with uncertainty, a plan started to take shape in my mind. Risky, but it felt necessary to catch the culprit. I shared my idea with Max, suggesting that hosting another family gathering could be the key to uncovering the truth. Think about it, Max, whoever planted that camera might try to retrieve it during another family event. This gathering, meant for bringing us together, could give us the chance to catch them in the act, I proposed. Max hesitated, still torn between his loyalty to his brother and the need to uncover the truth. But as I explained the urgency of our situation, he eventually agreed that we had to explore every option before getting the authorities involved. It was a tough choice but necessary to protect our family and regain our sense of safety. I called Lily, Isaac's wife, to propose the idea of another family gathering. Hey, Lily, we were thinking of having another family get-together. Are you and Isaac free to join us? I asked. Lily's response was surprisingly enthusiastic. She eagerly accepted, expressing her excitement for another gathering. It struck me as a bit odd since she was usually more reserved, but I brushed it off, thinking she was just happy for family time. With the plans in motion, Max and I focused on getting everything ready. Our home buzzed with anticipation and tension. We checked every corner for signs of intrusion, aiming to create a sense of normalcy while secretly preparing to catch the culprit. The stakes were high as the day of the gathering drew near, and our family's future hung in the balance. I felt a mix of nerves and determination. We were stepping into the unknown, but we were prepared to face whatever came our way to keep our daughter safe and our home secure. When the day arrived, our home filled with familiar faces once more. Excitement buzzed in the air, but underneath, tension simmered. Uncle Isaac, ever charming, greeted everyone warmly. But Max and I couldn't shake our suspicions. They loomed over us, casting a shadow on the festivities. To ensure Sophia's safety, we made the tough call to keep her away from the gathering, arranging a sleepover with a friend without revealing our concerns. With her gone, our focus sharpened, and we kept a watchful eye on anyone near her room. As the party started, laughter and chatter masked our true intentions. Max and I remained vigilant, ready to uncover the truth and protect our family at all costs. The party was in full swing as the night went on. The music and dancing created a lively atmosphere, masking our true intentions. But amidst the celebration, I couldn't ignore Lily's strange behavior. She kept excusing herself, rushing off to the bathroom with unusual urgency. My instincts kicked in, and I couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't right. Driven by curiosity, I decided to approach her. When Lily headed towards the bathroom once more, I followed quietly, my heart racing. But instead of going inside, she turned and entered Sophia's room. Panic surged through me. I knew I had to confront her to uncover the truth behind her actions. Stepping forward, I called out her name, my voice tinged with both accusation and concern. "Lily, what are you doing in Sophia's room?" Startled, Lily spun around, her eyes darting around the room as if searching for an escape. But there was no escaping the truth. The tension between us thickened, heavy with unspoken accusations. "I asked you a question, Lily. What are you doing in my daughter's room?" Lily's facade cracked, tears welling in her eyes. Her voice shook as she said, "I was just looking for Sophia. I was surprised she wasn't with us for the party." "You were going through her drawers," I pointed out, my tone unwavering. Lily looked down, realizing her hands were still in the drawer she'd been searching. I can explain." "Save it." The person we least expected, the one we had staunchly defended, had betrayed our trust. The room swirled with a whirlwind of disbelief and disappointment. I motioned for Max to join me, and he rushed over, assuming we had caught Isaac in Sophia's room. But his expression turned to shock when he saw it was Lily. "You planted that camera, didn't you?" "Why, Lily? Why would you do something like this?" Max demanded, his voice laced with anger and pain. Without hesitation, Max called Isaac over to Sophia's room, his tone firm and commanding. Isaac, sensing the urgency, quickly joined us, confusion written all over his face. As Isaac stepped into the room, his gaze fell on Lily, tears streaming down her cheeks. Before anyone could say another word, Max quietly closed the door, shielding the rest of the party from the unfolding drama. Taking a deep breath, I steadied my voice as I began to explain everything. I recounted the shocking discovery of the camera in Sophia's room, the invasion of her privacy that had shattered our trust. My words hung heavy in the air, the truth weighing down the room. "We planned this gathering, Isaac, to catch whoever planted the camera. And to be honest, we initially suspected you, bro. I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have doubted you, especially after everything with prison," Max interjected, his voice filled with regret. "But it was mostly me who accused you, Isaac. I'm truly sorry. After finding Lily here, I realize you weren't involved." Isaac's brows furrowed, confusion clouding his expression as he looked between Max, me, and Lily. He turned to Lily, seeking answers. "Lily, why were you in Sophia's room? What's going on?" We caught Lily going through Sophia's things. She's the one who planted the camera. Now that everyone's here, Lily, you need to explain yourself. Why would you do something like this? Lily's eyes darted around the room, searching for support, but Isaac's shock mirrored the confusion in the room. He couldn't understand why Lily would do something so invasive, especially to her own family. Okay, you got me. Yes. I planted the camera in Sophia's room. I was just coming to take it back. We already know that. We caught you. We want to know why, Max pressed. Because I'm jealous, okay? Lily blurted out. Lily's confession hung heavy in the air, exposing her jealousy for all to see. She admitted, with a mix of shame and frustration, that her actions were driven by envy towards Sophia. She had noticed Isaac and Sophia talking a lot during the last family gathering, and it sparked jealousy within her. She questioned what made Sophia so special and what drew Isaac's attention and affection towards her. Isaac felt the need to defend himself, his voice tinged with defensiveness and genuine concern. Lily, you know I care about Sophia, but not in a weird way. Being her uncle is important to me. I was just checking on her, making sure she was okay. It was out of love and family concern, nothing strange. But why were you always praising Sophia? It made me wonder what was so great about her, Lily countered, her jealousy still evident. So you're upset because I'm proud of being an uncle, Lily. Is there something wrong with being proud of my niece? I have every right to support and appreciate Sophia. It's not about playing favorites, it's just genuine love for family. I didn't expect you to react like this, Isaac retorted. Trying to navigate the emotions in the room, I turned to Lily. What were you hoping to find by planting the camera? What did you think you'd uncover? I just wanted to see how Sophia lives. You know, maybe if I understood her better and acted like her, I could get the same attention from you, Isaac. I wanted to feel valued like she is, Lily admitted. You're acting crazy, Lily. Jealous of a teenager. That's messed up, Isaac snapped, his frustration evident. After an awkward silence that could rival a library, Max decided to end the party. Good call, I agreed. The last thing we needed was to keep partying after discovering Lily's true colors, the resident creep of the year. Once the relatives were gone, it was just Max and me left to deal with the fallout of Lily's actions. And let me tell you, it wasn't pretty. I unleashed a verbal storm on Lily, enough to make a sailor blush. I mean, who does that? Who plants a camera in their niece's room? Sick, that's who. Isaac looked lost, disappointment written all over his face. I guess he couldn't believe what his wife had done. Can't say I blame him. I'd be equally stunned if my partner turned out to be a lunatic. As the dust settled and our emotions ran dry, Max and I found ourselves sitting in our once cheerful home, now tainted by one family member's sinister act. The next day, when Sophia returned, it fell to me to break the news, to expose the twisted truth. Tears filled Sophia's eyes as I recounted the violation of her privacy. The poor girl, innocent and unsuspecting, couldn't believe someone in our own family could do something so awful. Mom, I never imagined this could happen, especially from Lily. Seriously. Sophia's disbelief mirrored my own. I shook my head, struggling to comprehend it myself. I know it's hard to believe, but Lily really crossed a line. With Sophia in my arms, her tears staining my shoulder, I made her a promise. We are going to fight back. Pressing charges is just the beginning. Lily needs a reality check, and we are ready to give it to her. Her tearful eyes met mine, seeking reassurance. But Mom, how is Uncle Isaac doing? I sighed, the weight of our shattered family hanging heavily in the air. Honestly, he's struggling. It's hard for him to celebrate his freedom knowing he's married to someone who's acted so terribly. So, are they getting a divorce? She asked. I don't know, sweetheart. I hate what she's done to us. Me too, Sophia whispered. But right now, our priority is your safety. We're getting a restraining order against Lily so she won't come near you again. We're pressing charges and getting a restraining order against Lily. The bond between Isaac and our family is strained, shattered by this betrayal. There's an awkward silence between us, a reminder of how far jealousy can go. But we're determined to rebuild and find comfort in those who truly care. The road ahead might be tough, but we're ready to face it. Our family's love will help us through.